Good evening, good evening. Hey, Steve. Jeffrey, Lisa, David, Dan. Okay, good. I'm glad to see you guys can hear me and see my screen. Hey, Farzan. Yes, thanks, Lisa. Appreciate it, Michael. Okay, let's get going here. Disclaimer as usual, nothing presented in this webinar or video presentation, vocally or visually, is to be taken as trading advice. All content of the presentation is for educational purposes only. You know, trading involves risk, so always use discretionary funds when trading. And that's CFTC Rule 4.41. Okay. News. Okay, so there was PPI and unemployment claims. We knew they were going to move a little bit in the USD. The big one was, of course, Draghi and then crude oil. Okay, notice the difference between previous forecast and actual. It's kind of 50% off between the two numbers, right? Quite a lot. All right, looking into tomorrow, we also have USD news, which is CPI and retail sales. Okay, because it's going to happen at the same time, you're not going to know the difference, but they're both high impact news. Okay, just quickly peeking into the following week. Remember, on Sunday, Yellen is going to speak. I don't know why she's speaking on Sunday, but I just need to bring that up. Sunday, Yellen is going to speak, and then Monday, we don't have any news in London. All right, so it should be if it stacks up correctly in London, then the move is going to be in London. Okay. All right. Let's look at the harmonics. Now, as you know, there's tons of good harmonics. Okay. We knew this was coming into the pre-market in London. We knew this harmonic was there. The first thing I do is I go down to the 1 hour chart. I'm going to try to see if there's something in here. Okay. I'm trying to see if there's something in here. Okay. If I don't see anything in here, I'm like, it looks like an M on the lower time frame. I can see that right from here, right? Peek in the 15-minute chart. Sometimes you will find a 15-minute pattern. Okay. Obviously, a 15-minute pattern is going to have a smaller stop loss. I mean, this is a classic M with the classic M, right? Close below 13, back above, back below. Now, I don't like to take a trade in here because I'm too tight to the water. All right. I took a trade in here. When this one breaks through here, I started shorting from here like that. And then I just simply held through this move for 20 pips. Okay. If you pass on this move, your better move is right here, an ID. All right. There's an ID move. Okay. I don't like these candles. All right. The only one candle I like is this candle right here. All right. To the downside for a nice 20 pip move. Okay. You could have held it. I'll take it too long. A nice little 20 pip move. Done. Then you don't want to sit through all of this. Okay. Anchor, high of day, harmonic, anchors the move, 1350 cross, 50-50 bounce. All right, so if you miss this move, that's your next move. Okay, the anchor is going to support that move. Okay, all right. EC, all right, so let's take a look at EC. I'm looking for notice the black box is here, not here. Okay, notice the black box is here, not here. So the move is already here. Okay, it's already done. Okay, now considering the fact that this is my black box and the harmonic is here, like the next week. Okay, let's see if there's a pattern in here that we could have potentially traded. All right, now looking at this looks like an advanced M, but it's not. Why is that? But both out of the band. Okay, that was the previous day. So let's say you ignore that. All right, so you're looking at this as a move to the downside. I actually took a scratch on this trade. Okay, so here was your anchor because this was where the harmonic would have sat. Here's your move, right? Come back. Here's an ID move. They hit it. There's an inverted hammer, kind of very small. So, and then it just started messing around here. Okay. You move down. It's about, did not. It says 20 pips, but then you're held by the spread. Okay. And then here, was the bounce trade. The induced breakout trade that came within less than a pip. So I entered short on this pullback here, and then when it closed back up, I killed the trade. Took a little scratch on it. I think it was -6 or -7 or something like that. Okay, that was my AR move to the downside. I was expecting this to drop down to the blueberry, which as you can see is coming down here, but it just takes its time. All right, I know this is a visible stop hunt, but this we will see on the lower time frame. So there was no harmonic pattern, no actual pattern on the 1 hour chart, and then the 15-minute chart is over here. So it's not today. Okay. EA coming off level 2 to the downside, 1 hour is more like a little half a bat. Okay. So they come, they drop, they shift right through here. Now, if you miss this move, your ID move is right here, just as nice, right? So on the 15, here was my ugly anchor move off the high. Okay, this is the first move. Here's ID move, right, in Asia. Right, nice little 20 pip move. Come back, did not close above 13, continue dropping. Here would be considered almost an AR move, right? It missed, of course, it missed it by 2 pips, so it's not really an AR move. If it's through a spike right above and then close back below, your entry would have been somewhere in there. I don't like to go short on a hammer, so inverted hammer would be an ideal place to take the short, but this is not really a set. Close enough, but not really a set. Okay, now, well, maybe I'll tell you that right now. Okay, so when you see this pullback, right, you see how it touches the 13 EMA right here? Okay, so on the 15 minutes, if it does not touch the water, okay, this one touched the water, but it's not really a setup. Now let's presume that this area, this threw a spike, okay, this spike went right through here and then it rolled over, even though it never touched the water, for example, but it touched, let's say this one was a little bit lower, right? But on the next higher time frame, it actually did touch it. It would be considered a bounce, okay? Because they're all relative. All right, so there's no harmonic there. EN coming off this high. This was nice, okay? 1 hour move. Short. All right, we're in the pre-market. We were right here, and I think, man, that's the perfect half a bat. The distance from here to here is more than 10 pips. There's a shift candle that closes. Let me blow it up first. Okay, the distance from here to here is more than 10 pips. This is the shift candle that takes out the nadir. Short from here. Again, if you missed it, here is your first move. All right, so if you missed that anchor, your next move is here. See, I was talking about here. You see how it misses the water? This is an ID, kind of not really an ID move, right? The ID move is right in here. 1350 cross, first pullback, that's an ID move short, right? Boom, that's your move. This would be an AR00. You see how the 00 at the bottom of the Asian range, it comes and taps it. And you're like, well, it never touched the water. This is when I go to the 1 hour chart and I see if it touches the 13. And if it does touch the 13, which it did right there, all right, because they would touch the 13 and then the next candle would be like that down here, right? If it touches the 13, close below, short. I actually took that trade. Okay. All right, that was a nice trade. Okay, a couple of things that happened over here. Obviously, you have the harmonic, but then also you have the quarter point and the pattern. Okay, Euro pound, I don't have harmonic. GU, no harmonic. Let's find one that actually has one for this week. This is a current harmonic. Okay, it's happening right now. This is a current harmonic. Okay, dollar Swiss. Okay, I'm going back to a level 1 move. I'm expecting this to drop a 4 hour 50-50 bounce. Okay, so got to see a nice shift and then drop. All right, so let's see on the 1 hour if there is a pattern. Look, I was watching this. I can't believe I didn't take it. It was nice. You see how the close above 13 back below? This is my first leg, no more than 4 candles below. Okay, look at the divergence, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that's this one, the left one, with the lowest point. Okay, it's almost like a 3 drives pattern. Closed above the 13-hour sign, above the signal line, above the market baseline. Right, this is what Doug calls out of the band, in the band baseline bounce. Okay, long. All right, 50-200 cross. I'm expecting an M off the Mayo short. If I miss that move, no big deal. I wait for the ID move. Okay. All right, let's see. The next one is this dollar CAD one really did not work. Let's see if you got messed. It could have gotten messed up on the 1 hour chart. I'm looking for W, which is right here. So pull back, close below 13, -6, -7, and that's it. You wouldn't have probably taken this trade. The reason for that, because if your stop is 13 pips, right, you probably need 13 pips to the water, which you didn't get. So you probably would have not taken that trade. Okay, yeah, you got a 1 leg out of the band, 1 leg in the band with a harmonic in here, but you probably wouldn't have taken that trade. All right. All right, and finally, CAD yen. CAD yen had a big harmonic in here. 1 hour chart is absolutely looks disgusting. So starting from here, I see kind of out of the band, in the band in here. Here's my in the band right here, right? So that's all out of the band. Let me blow it up. Out of the band, close above the catch-up, in the band right here, close above check. You can't, doesn't matter what it does. You can't take the trade until R signs above the market baseline and price above the 13. So theoretically, you've taken the trade there, but you wouldn't have because there was some news over here. How do I know this news? This candle is more than 30 pips. All right, 60 pip candle. So you probably would not have taken that trade there. Okay. And then, yeah, even though it said the harmonic is still there, it's over. Why? Because from the bottom to top over here, it's more than 50 pips before it came back down. So that structure, even though the harmonic is still there, the structure is done. It's over with. Okay. That's it with the harmonics. There were quite a few of them. Interesting. All right. We'll see more of the ID moves on the 1 hour chart. All right. Okay, Shireen is saying, when you say AR move, where could I find the video on AR? AR is the Asian range. That means you're going to bounce either the bottom or top of the Asian range or the midline of the Asian range, right? The midline is the 50 line, 50% of the Asian range, right? They call AR50. And then it's top and the bottom called the AR00. Okay, there's videos on it. Just go in under CAR DMR curriculum and then just take a look at it. It'll actually say AR50, AR00, Asian range. Okay. On EN, that was the 1 hour 50-50 after the harmonic, correct? So let's take a look. So EN, 1 hour 50-50, no. This is not a 1 hour 50-50 bounce. All right, the 1 hour 50-50 bounce actually physically have to close above the 13 and come back below it. So 1 hour 50-50 bounce is going to look, it actually close above 13, come back below 13. Not that. Okay. All right, let's get started. So here, I'm looking for reasons to go short. I'm in level 3. I'm looking for shorts, right? So, okay, so the first thing I do is here's the outside structure, right? So my blue tracer is here. I'm looking for an M structure on the blue tracer. So I really see, here's my outside structure, and then I see a whole bunch of candles going above. Here's my M structure, man. Right? Ideally, if you took the short here, you got about 9 pips here, and then you got about 7 pips here. It's perfect. Boom. Right? So if you got 7 pips stop loss, if you went 15 pips, 16 pips, you got 2-to-1 risk reward. Okay? But again, if you miss this move coming off this anchor move, right? 1350 cross, first pullback. That's a 50-50 bounce. That's the move. Okay? This is an ID 50. All right? I took that trade. I missed this one. I was doing the pre-market. By the time the pre-market is done, I'm here. So I'm like, should I take this trade? Should I not take this trade? I think, you know what? I'm just going to wait for the ID move, which is exactly what we teach in the DMR. You miss this move, you know what's coming next. When it comes next, I'm shorting from here, 20 pips. You got a 7-pip stop. You got a 20-pip take profit, almost 21. You got almost a 2-to-1 risk reward. Okay? All right? EJ, this is level 2. Okay, so I'm coming off this little reset. I'm measuring from here to here. It's approximately 175. So I'm not 3 times ADR. So I am in level 2. So this is considered a counter trend move. Okay, there was a nice harmonic with it right up here. Okay, so when we talk about this kind of structure, all right, you can use this. All right, harmonic. The harmonic is going to give you your anchor. And then if you miss the anchor because it's in Asia for whatever reason, then you just wait for that bounce trade. Here's the 1 hour, the ID 50. Okay, you need at least 2 pins to the water. Wait for the inverted hammer, shift candle. And then you just short from here like that, boom. Same thing, tight, 7 pips, 20 pips, 2-to-1 risk reward. Okay, it's easy. Okay, I used the harmonic to identify the anchor, and then I took the ID move because I missed the anchor move. All right, now if this anchor gave me a 1 leg out of the band, 1 leg in the band, I would actually short right there. I would consider an advanced stem structure. Okay. EC, I'm in level 2, so I'm looking for actually reasons to go long on this pair. All right. For some reason, I was like, okay, it's going to go here and then it's going to go long, right? So I don't know. Sometimes we overthink things, right? So if I was looking for longs, where would I take the trade? The answer is right here. Okay. Close above 13 back below. And then this is the second leg, half a back move. Okay. Maybe 20 pips, maybe not. But at least my stop would have been moved to break even. And I've taken that trade. Meanwhile, I thought, hey, it's going to go down to the blueberries. I took a short here instead of taking a long here. So that was my fault. Level 2. I should have been looking for longs, not shorts. Okay? They gave me half a bat, and I misread it. Okay, thinking that it's going to come here, give me a nice W, and then go long. Level 2, W of the male. EA, I'm coming off this peak, so only trade I'm looking for is short. Okay, so I missed the anchor move. Coming in Asia, no big deal. 1350 cross. The pullback has to be 25 to 50 pips. 25 pips, boom. That's a ID move. And this one would be an AR00. We talked about that earlier. I don't like to go short on a hammer, and inverted hammer is where you go short on. Okay, AR00. So it happens in sequence. Okay, so how do I know when to look for the 15-minute chart since I'm looking at the 1 hour? When it bounces up the 13 EMA. The 13 EMA is the 50 EMA on the 15-minute chart. EN, same thing. I'm coming off a shoulder head shoulder move, and that's my move, right? So I'm looking for reasons to go short. I missed the anchor move in Asia. So that's my anchor, 1350 cross, first pullback. Here's my ID 50, right? I missed this move already. Okay, by the time I come in here, we're here. So obviously there's no set. I already missed that move. I'm not trading that, okay, because it's not very clean, right? So the only other move I'm looking for is a AR00 or AR50. Okay, close below, RSI below the signal line, below the static, boom, short. Okay? Don't complicate it. I've given you the structure. Just follow it. That's it. It's as simple as that. Okay? It's painfully slow trade. Well, some days, yeah, they're painfully slow if you take it in the wrong session. All right, so the pounds, I was expecting them to drop, okay, reset, and then I had a level 2. Why did I think that? Well, if you look at the 4, okay, on the 4-hour chart at 50-200 cross, I am looking for an M of the male on the 4-hour, M of the male. So this is perfect. It came back up. I'm waiting for it to roll back over and come down to the blueberry. That's the expected move. Okay, that's what I'm expecting them to do. Okay, I was looking for shorts all day. All right, so here in itself, there is no pattern. You just can't short it here. All right, so if you look, I know it might look nice, okay, but you can't really just short it here because you're anticipating the reset. Okay, so GU did not have a set. GJ, I know some people took GJ. All right, it's ugly, man. There's no set in here. So you guys are like, oh, that's an ID move. I'm going to go short here. And then, of course, it dropped 100 pips. But that's not really a set. You're anticipating the reset in here. Okay? Don't anticipate the reset. Wait for them to complete it. All right? They'll come in. They'll bounce off. So in other words, they'll anchor off here. So I'm waiting for the anchor off here. Give me an M. And then when it bounces from the bottom, then you short it. Okay? Now, if you're looking for longs, you're like, you know what, I'm level 2 long, right? From here, from the bottom here to here, I'm approximately 215 pips. So I'm more than 1, less than 2. I'm looking for longs. So then you guys should be looking for longs at the low of day. All right, so you'll be looking for longs from bottom over here. All right, only problem is the half a bat. So that means price got to take out the apex. That means you take the trade up somewhere in here. And you don't want to do that. Okay. GC. GC is slightly different, right? We're talking about this reset level 1 long, mainly because we see an anchorish structure up here and the 1350 cross. That's what I meant. The other one did not have it. So I took the short in here, okay? So if you look at the 15, looks a little messy. Okay, looks a little messy coming up the blueberry. They come in here, notice the 50-200 cross, they come in here and they give you a little M, okay? Measure from here to here, it's about 10 pips. You can short the minute it goes below the 13 here or here. Boom, like that. Okay, that's your first move. And then followed by the induce, kind of comes right to the low induce. They come back and they hit it and then they roll over and drop. Okay, so if you notice, what they did was they shift below. Okay, almost like we talked about this in the pre-market, almost like a 1 hour 50-50 bounce, a 1350 cross, right? So here, they close below. Okay, if you measure the candle, about a 30 pip candle, right? 10 pips out of the 30 pips is a wick compared to this candle. It's also 20, let's say 23, 24 pip candle, right? Most of it is body. 16 pips out of 24 is body. Okay, so this has, but let's presume that you took it, you dropped the fib in here and you took this trade. Boom. Okay, close back up here, 14 pip minus 14. All right, is it valid? The trade valid? The answer is yeah, it's valid. RSI sign below the signal line, below the static, right? Short. So if you took a little scratch, no big deal. It rolls over and short it again. In here. Okay, a lot of people took this trade. All right. Now the other way to do it is manage it off the higher time frame. It's the same move. All right, except this one is kind of a little squeezed in between there. All right. Okay, on the 15. All right, I think we talked about this. They come in, they hit it again. Okay, and then they just simply just drop from there. A little bit more choppier. The lower the time frame you go, the more choppier it gets. All right. GA, I did not take any trades on it. I was looking for longs. All right, so it just kind of, because I got a 50-200 cross, it just kind of busted right through. So there was no longs in here. I'm not going to go long in here unless there was a harmonic. All right, so let's see if any way to take the longs. Yeah, there wasn't. Close above 13, back below, back above, and you're way up here. The news. Okay. Notice it never bounced to give you an AR move or nothing, so there's no other setup in here. GN. GN had a level 2 short. I was looking for this to kind of drop from here. Okay, so this one also was no setup in here. I know it dropped really nicely, but again, just because it dropped doesn't mean you should be in that trade, or there is a way to get to that trade. Okay. GF, same thing. We went in one. Okay, we're looking for reasons to potentially go short. See, GF is the level 1 short. Now it's the long. The question is, well, why do you say that? All right, we were down here, and then now with this news, it pushed it back up. Okay, 50-200 cross, WF the Mayo, long. Well, we just can't go with that, right? So what we need to do is look at the daily. If you look at the daily on all the pound pairs, you're in level 2 long. That means there's a reset. Okay, I got a 50-200. If you notice, 50-200 is not crossed. It's level 3, 1350 cross, and we've just been range bound on the daily for like, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months, 11 months. 11 months, almost a whole year, we've been range bound on the daily. Finally, we got a 50-200 cross, making it a level 2. I'm looking for this to go long. Where to? Ultimately, the blueberry on the daily. Okay? So, on the 4-hour chart, this is my reset. So, it's going to look like this. All right, wait for the 1350 to lock this pattern, and then wait for the bounce trade long. All right, so having said that, this is your level 1. I'm in level 2 right now, so I'm looking for them to 50-200 across, come down, WF the Mayo on the 15-minute chart long. Okay, stop and low rise. Sometimes the anchors will not, you won't be able to get in easily on these anchors. Okay, they get very aggressive when they get there. Aussie, I'm looking for long, stop and low rise. It really didn't really do much of anything, but let's take a look. Right, no visible stop hunt. All right, so this is level 1. They smacked it right here, and they went long from here. So not much, comes back. Then they come back and hit the stop one more time. Below the low, below this low and this low, coming out level 1. This is your safety area. Okay, some of you will be like, well, since that one didn't really work and they did the stop here, that's my safety, visible stop on. So it could do here, this part's a safety, and then if it comes back lower, it's still part of the safety. Why? Because there's a visible stop on below the low. That means it's got to be at the low of day. Okay, then they close, and then this one would be your ID move, right? Close, comes back down, second leg, long. Right? Again, low ADR, 54 pips. Do not expect to get 50 pips. It takes forever. If you've noticed, they usually move in Asia. That's the move. That's the move. That's the move. And the rest of the day, chop, chop, chop. Okay? That's when they do it. I mean, it is what it is, right? See, Asia, they move in Asia. And then they just simply chop that day. All right? They started here. They ended here. Okay, the net change for the day was 13 pips, nothing. Okay, so all these will usually move in Asia because that's their pair. We're looking for WF the Mayo anyway, so there was no set in there. And you, Okay, and you are looking for them to hit the stop low and rise, safety or a 1 hour 50-50 bounce. I don't see neither. Okay, this is really, really, really ugly. And then they just kind of do a little AR move in here. They induce breakout trader, they come back. And then you have to take this trade when they break above everything, all the EMAs, right? Maybe about 20 pips out of it. Okay. Yeah. It's just kind of ugly, so I would have passed on that trade, and I did. I didn't even look at it. Dollar Swiss. Okay, so there's a harmonic in here. We talked about this potential long, right? But I got a 50-200 cross. I'm actually looking for an M short. I'm looking for this to drop down to the blueberry. Okay, if you look at the 15, awesome, right? Harmonic, outside structure, comes back. They hit it, first leg, close above 13-second leg. Guess what? 4 candles, quarter wood. The 4th candle closes above the 13. Your entry is actually right there. Okay, I was in the pre-market. I missed that move. That was my move. If I missed that move, the next move day, stop and go right. But again, if I'm in level 2 short, I would not take that bounce trade. Okay, the only reason I would be interested in taking this trade counter is because of the harmonic, and considering the fact that there's a harmonic, I also got a 12 setup, 1 leg here and then 2 legs here. Out of the band, in the band. RSI is above the signal line, above the market baseline, 1/3 pullback, 9 pips stop. This will only place that will give me pauses here. Otherwise, I would take this trade here, put my stop right here, 7 pips, and then from here to have enough pips. Okay. Dollar CAD, same deal. 2, we were right here in the pre-market. I was expecting to come up, hit the stop, high rollover, and drop. 15 minutes in London. We're looking for longs first before a short. I don't have that outside structure move. I won't be very interested in this pair. The short would be nicer. Okay, stayed above the 13, first leg, close below 13, back above, back below. Short, and then nothing happened here. 15, 16 pips, 15 pips. If you went one to one, you grab 15 pips on that one. That's it. Okay. Late in the day, past 1 o'clock, I wouldn't try to go for more than 1 to 1. I like this pattern. The reason for that is because I got 1 leg out of the band, 1 leg in the band, and the second leg of the actual structure is the baseline bounce. Okay, if you actually went short here, stop goes here, 8 pips. From here to here should be close to 8 pips, and actually you could have taken that trade right there on that pullback of this candle, shift candle right there. Dollar sign below the signal and below the market baseline. You'd have to wait all the way down here. If you did take it over here, more than 7 pips, 8 pip stop, easy 20 pip move. Okay, classic M, 1 leg out of the band, 1 leg in the band, baseline bounce. Study this. This is good. This is good stuff. Okay. Dollar yen, I'm looking for shorts all day. All right, so 50-200 cross. They hit the Mayo first time there, closed below 13, back above. They stuttered, did not close. This is not really anything, right? It's like, this is the shift candle right here. That's your shift candle. 10 pips, right? Pulls back, short. Okay, so you go up about 16 pips, comes back, close back about 13, -5. All right, a little early, so let's take a look at this. This is the candle that you entered in, right? So if you look at the 15-minute chart, it's going to be in Asia. This is your anchor move, right? Coming off the anchor move. So if you took this move, an ID move, only a foot soldier, come back and close back about 13, -3. Okay, the rest is the mess. So if you miss the anchor, wait for the ID, short, boom. And finally, your pound. Okay, I know some of you guys took this long. Okay, this news was not any news that we would have recognized. Okay, so over here, right? You could have, right, if it's the peak formation, so ideally you would have not taken this long here, right? Because in the peak formation, so you're not trading a continuation trade to the peak. So if you're looking for a reversal trade, you're looking for a pattern off the high. There wasn't really a pattern coming off that high. Okay, Didn't go below the 13, back above, back below, half a bat or a M structure in here, nothing. It just comes in here and rattles, and then it just breaks more like a half a bat. Boom, short. But you may have not taken that trade. Okay. All right. Questions? Let's see. GC looked like a big level 3. Actually, if you look at the 4 hour, right? Most of them are sitting in level 1, level 2. So GC on the 4 hour sitting in level 2, like a nice little W, right? 50-200. I think this is going to go long. Why? Because the daily, I'm sitting in level 1 long. So I'm expecting it to pull back and then start pushing up like that. Okay? At least give a 50-200 cross in M of the Mayo on the daily. So it'll take a couple of days for this to come up here. There's over 175 pips in here on this move. Okay? All right. Joseph took it GN down and up. EC looks like CSD, MS, UF. UF is a counter move. There's a harmonic sitting here. That's why, if you notice, the second leg went below the blue tracer, close above, right? So you can have a other band in the band baseline bounce, right? Long. But you're actually looking for shorts. I got a 50-200 cross. I'm looking for M off the Mayo to the downside. Could you please show your EU chart again, H1? Sure. So EU, all right. I have it in 3. I came off this peak formation low, up here approximately 211 pips, so close enough to 3 times ADR. I only got 1 leg, so I'm expecting this to come back up and give me my second leg over here. So I'll be looking to look for a pattern at this blue tracer at the high. So if they come up here and they give me a little M, boom, short. Okay. Yes, so 1-1 is out of the band, in the band. That's correct. Can you check 4 hour on EU? Sure. Have it in 2, 50-200 cross, M off the Mayo. Come back down, come back up, come back down. Because they don't always go right to the mirror and pull away. Sometimes they go above it, right? Induce people to go long, right? Just like they don't always reset where they're supposed to reset, right on the Mayo. Sometimes they'll go a little bit below, but you're not interested in the reset. You're going to continue to trade away from the peak until they lock it, and then you take this one long from there. Okay? You're waiting for the lock. Once they lock, then they're going to move. Okay? All right. Good. We got a good 20 minutes. Let us get started. I'm actually going to do a presentation on reset safety. Okay? Reset safety. So it should take me about 15-20 minutes to get this done. So, you guys ready? All right. Reset safety. Okay, so what we've covered so far, right, on the safeties, the 50-200 cross safety, right? So in other words, we look for the anchor. We look for it to be 1 ADR off the high, close at the extreme of structure, 50-200 cross, 1, 2, 3, ideally, right? 3 swipes, Steve called it, close below 13, back above, back below, short. You get a 1 leg out of the band, 1 leg in the band, RSI below, signal below the market baseline. That is a perfect setup, perfect safety. It does not get more perfect than this. This is like a Mona Lisa of safeties. Okay? We've talked about the 50-200 cross safety. This is the easiest to see, and this is my favorite. Okay, a little bit harder. The 50-200 non-cross safety. Okay, that means it's going to do the same thing. It's going to come off the peak, 1 times the ADR off the low, close the extreme of structure. It's going to give you the visible stop on. If you notice, 1, 2, 3 to the low, close above 13, back below, back above, long. right? It still has to have a one leg out of the band, one leg in the band, ideal situation. Okay, that's a 50-200 non-cross safety. That means you see the 200 up here, obviously the 50-200 had not crossed. All right, this could be considered your AFP. Okay. All right, so the third one is called a reset safety. Why? Because the reset is your new anchor. It's your new 1 hour anchor, right? So we're going to trade away from the peak, the new anchor. The 1 hour anchor, we're going to trade away 3 levels away from that anchor. Okay, so a safety, regardless of where the anchor is 1 times the ADR after the anchor is created. Okay, so reset anchor locked in, right? Usually off the Blueberry or Mayo, sometimes in between, right? So the reset anchor has to lock. It comes 1 ADR off that anchor. All right, I'll show you a chart for that. The 50-200 EMA crosses on the 15 minutes, which is the 1350 cross on the 1 hour chart. Ideally, that's how you can see level 1 of the reset. Stop hunt above the Asian box. That's why it's called a visible stop hunt. All right, and then TDI confirmation. So let us take a look at what all that means. Okay, so here we go. Here's my reset, right? The Blueberry is kind of sitting there. Sometimes they go a little bit below it, of course, because they don't sit always on the Blueberry. Sometimes they go below it, sometimes they sit above it. They do that on purpose so that they throw us off, especially us here in BTMM, because we know where they're going to reset. Okay, so they're going to do what Steve called a variations to the theme. Okay, but we got their number. We know they're going to do it, right? So 1 ADR off the high, closes the extreme structure. See the 50-200 cross, right? So the reset anchor usually happens off the Blueberry or Mayo. 1 times the ADR, close the extreme structure, and then a visible stop hunt. Okay, notice the 1 leg out of the band, 1 leg in the band. So we do need, like all the safeties, 1 ADR off that anchor low. In this case, anchor low, anchor high, right? So if this is my reset, notice they're slightly below the Mayo, the Blueberry, sorry. They go 1 ADR off that low, and then they pull off of it and go sideways. So I don't really care what happens, what they do here. But I want to see that visible stop hunt. They'll come in, they'll hit it, and then they'll give you a beautiful shift candle, 12 to 15 pips, depending on the ADR value. Out of the band, in the band, boom, long. Okay. Wait for the 50-200 EMA cross to lock the reset anchor. So this is my ugly anchor, right? It's just kind of messing around. I don't know what it is. I am not touching this one because, hey, as far as I'm concerned, I'm in level 1 or maybe even level 2 short. So I'm not going to mess with this because I know, hey, on the 4 hour chart, I'm only in level 2. I'm expecting it to go to level 3 on the 4 hour. That means I'm on the 1 hour, I'm expecting it to reset somewhere. Okay. All right. 1 ADR, or at least close to 1 ADR, close the extremal structure. Then they come back down, they give you a visible stop hunt, right? 1, 2, 3, and then ping, they hit it right to the zone flip area, the quarter point, and they are messing around until they close up with a nice shift. I don't want to take a long on an inverted hammer. I told you that. Nice shift candle, and then you take that long from here. Okay, so wait for the 50-200 EMA to lock the reset anchor. Okay, then you look for a visible stop hunt above or below the Asian box. Anchor, closes the extremal structure 1 ADR off the low. Consolidate, visible stop hunt. Hit it, close above 13, back below, back above. That's a W formation or a half a bat. That's why it's probably a half a bat. That's why you have a shark fin. Shark fin, half a bat. Long. The visible stop hunt is the key. Okay. TDI confirmation is essential. In this example, RSI line is above the market baseline. All right, same thing. Here's my reset coming off the Blueberry. They close at the extremal structure 1 ADR off that anchor. 50-200 cross, locks my anchor. Cool. I'm waiting for them to hit the stop. All right, some of you be like, well, okay, they hit the stop, they closed above. I'm going to go long here or here. Perfect, but notice there's a little gap. There's news coming in here. All right, so you pass on this move. Then you're like, oh, I missed the move. I can't believe there's no set now. I'm done for the day. No, if they give you a visible stop hunt in the same area, you can still take that trade. Why? Because it clearly tells me that they did not get what they wanted on this one. So they came and they gave me another structure in here, like a half a bat, long. Shark fin, half a bat. Okay? For whatever reason, if you saw, and this was a decent sized candle, and this was your shift candle, and you saw this move, you're like, okay, that looks cool. That looks like out of the band-ish, in the band, right? And you went long here, you hit your target. All right? If let's say this candle was, a huge ADR, right? So let's say this candle was a 12 pip candle, 10 pip candle. This would be a W formation with a visible stop hunt right there. Boom, that would be an entry going long. All right. Let's say you did take this trade and they come back and they give you another visible stop hunt below the low of the first, and they give you a pattern, and you're still in level 1 after the anchor formation. Take it. It's gonna go. Right? Because this is a safety, but did not hit the 200. This becomes the W of the male, or a shark fin. Hold the male. Okay. Short RSI line below the signal line, below the market baseline. That's ideal situation. Here is my blueberry. Here is my ugly anchor. They do the visible stop hunt, then they drop. Okay, they drop. Boom. 50-200 cross locks this ugly anchor. Now I'm looking for them. Give me a visible stop hunt, which they do. 1, 2, 3, 4. Close below 13. Back above. Back below. One leg out of the band. One leg in the band. That's usually how an M structure will look like. And then you just short it. Once it closes below, RSI signal line cross below the market baseline. Right? Boom. Why? Because it's an M structure. M structures require the RSI line, which is the black line, to be below the market baseline, which is the yellow line. Okay. Here is a variations to the theme. What do I mean? Here, the reset safety, there is no pattern on the 15-minute chart right here. You're like, okay, cool. Here's my reset. Closed up, 50-200 crosses, locked my anchor, 1 ADR off the low, closed the extreme structure. I'm all happy. Then what happens? They dribble, they bounce, and then they shift hard, and then they off to the races for 100 pips. You're like, I can't believe I just missed this trade. There's no pattern in here. Here's out of the band, here's out of the band, out of the band, out of the band. I'm looking for out of the band, in the band, right? So there's no in the band. What do? This area allows you to look at the 1-hour chart for a 50-50 bounce sometimes. Sometimes the 15 minutes is not going to be clean. You have to shift 1 time frame higher to see if there is a pattern or a setup on the 1-hour chart. So here's the same example. Here's my reset. 1350 cross level 1. Notice the 50-50 bounce long. Okay? So don't be like, I have to take the trade on the 15 minutes. No, you don't. If the 15 minutes is not clean and you're like, you have to really struggle to come up with a pattern or a setup, jump to the 1-hour chart. That's why I always interchange between safety and 1-hour 50-50 bounce, because safety sometimes is not clean, sometimes it doesn't hit the stop. 50-50 bounce doesn't need a stop hunt. They just need the bounce off the water. Okay? Here's the example of that reset safety. Here you see a visible stop hunt, which is a V bottom. See, for all that, remember WVVM, a visible stop hunt with a V bottom. So they come off this reset off the blueberry, close at 1 ADR, they pull off of it, and I'm waiting for them to hit the stop, which they do. Boom. And then they run. I'm sitting there, I'm like, how do I take this trade? Right? Well, here we go. You jump into the 1-hour chart and look for a 50-50 bounce. Remember, 50-50 bounce sometimes can have a second leg, just like a safety has 2 legs. Right? A pattern. Sometimes they give you half a bat, which is like a 1 leg. All right? Well, as you can see, they give you V's, which makes you jump into the 1-hour chart and look for a 50-50 bounce. All right, so they come off this reset, 1350 cross. We know it's level 1, right? So here's my first bounce right here, boom. 2 pins to the water, long, right? I don't know how many pips it is, but that's my first leg. They sometimes will come down and give you a second leg, just like a ID safety and just like an AR safety, where they give you a second leg. So a 50-50 bounce sometimes will have a second leg. I can't call it a 1 hour safety because that's already taken, right? So we call it a 1 hour 50-50 bounce with a second leg, unless you guys can come up with something catchy. All right, here's my 50-50 bounce. Here's my second leg of the 50-50 bounce long. Kind of cool. All right, so if you take a scratch on the first leg, don't be like, oh, I can't believe. If they give you a second leg, take it. Okay. Okay. Success is good at any age, but the sooner you find it, the longer you will enjoy it. All right, absolutely true. All right, Steve always says since day one, you got to roll up your sleeves and work, man. You know, we do not absorb material or information through osmosis. It doesn't work like that. Study a concept, homework it. Study a concept, homework it. Study a setup, homework it. Until you internalize it. It takes a little while to internalize. Most people are like, well, I don't know, the rules are easy. They're only like 6 lines. I should know this stuff. Yes, you should. And you will. But it's not knowing like as in, oh, memorizing like the alphabet. You memorize the rules is great, but there's something called chart time. You have to sit and look at the chart and watch it perform, and you have to react with your emotions. And when they confirm, and then by the time the candle closes, it unconfirms. And then what do? You know, that kind of stuff. It's called chart time. There is no substitute to chart time. Only you can do the chart time because that's your vision. That's how you see the chart. Somebody cannot sit and do your chart time for you because they will get the chart time, you won't. Okay? So my suggestion, like I've been telling all the new students, is one setup at a time. Pick one, master it. Pick one, pick the second one, master it. If you master 3 setups and you know it inside out, you will crush the market. Okay, you're going to do some crazy numbers that people and you yourself will not believe. You're going to be like, oh my God, this is crazy. All right. Since day one, when we started the curriculum, the goal in BTMM and in the DMR has been always between 10 to 15% or 12 to 15% per week. That is the expected goal. All right. You master one setup. Like Steve does pretty much trade what? 2 to 3 setups a week, right? So if you master one setup, you should be able to take 2 to 3 setups a week. Between, let's say, 20 pairs, 18 pairs. All right. Let's say even if you did 10% a week. In 4 weeks, in a month, you have 40%. I don't think that's bad. Right? But then what happens is you get like, well, if I can do 40%, I can do 80% in a month, man. It's easy. Then you overtrade, you over leverage, you overtrade. Instead of taking consistently 1 trade or 2 trades max a day, start pushing it. Okay. So so far we've covered the anchor moves, right? 12, 21s, 22s. And then we've covered the ID moves coming out of level 3, which there were a lot today in the pound pairs. And now we're covering safety. Okay. 5200 cross, 5200 non-cross, and reset safety. And then next week we're going to do a little quiz, and the week after that we're going to do an ID. We're going to talk about the ID safety. We've already done the ID 50. I don't want to cover it again. We'll just do 1 or 2 slides on ID 50, and then we'll just move straight to ID safety. Okay, because I think that's really important as well. Okay. Lisa saying use the 15 minutes to analyze the safety trade more than the 1 hour. Absolutely true. The safety is on the 15-minute chart. The 1 hour is a 50-50 bounce. Okay. All right. Awesome. Okay, guys, I'm going to end it right here. When did this current curriculum start? We started in January. So you got to go back to January and start from there. All right. My session is about 20 minutes long. It's not like it's one whole hour long. So, but you got to finish the 4-day course, the boot camp, and the charter school first. Then my suggestion for all the new people, right? You pick 5 classes or 5 sessions from Jim, 5 sessions from me, and 5 sessions from Doug, and you see what style fits you better, which, what resonates with you better. Some people are a little bit, like, hey, I got a very limited time. I want to trade the 1-minute chart, and that's fine. Some people say, listen, I can only trade London. I want a big, car. That's fine. Some people say, I got to work. I can't really do it. I can swing trade. I can trade 4-hour charts. You want to pick Doug, large structures, things like that. So it depends on your schedule, how things are. Okay? So the 4-day course, the boot camp, the charter school, then 5 classes from Jim, Doug, and myself, and then make a decision. If let's presume that you picked me, right? Then you go to January and you start the curriculum, and the curriculum is the last 15-20 minutes of a Thursday session. So it's pretty quick, all right? I'm not saying to skip the first 45 minutes, but I'm just saying the last 20 minutes of the presentation, just like today, all right? Then you just go through them. It's pretty fast. You probably finish at least half of it in over one weekend. So it's not like, you can just sit for like 4 or 5 hours. You should be able to finish 50% of it, okay? All right. Thank you, Lisa. Okay, guys, I'm going to let you bounce. I will catch you guys tomorrow morning at the pre-market at 2:30 Eastern. Take care.